When last we left our heroes, Asmo the Snakeman Fighter, Danir the Catman Wizard, Nara the Drow Sorceress, and Wolfgang the Angelic Warlock. In the midst of Silver Rock's first Reclamation Day celebration, our heroes face no small amount of hardships. Having to deal with the political forces of not only King Bahum and Hresh from Dragon's Rest, but a set of sorceress dignitaries from the Midnight Kingdom, as well as keeping an eye out for a group of Kench loyalists calling themselves the Hammers of God. These tasks would be enough on their own, but adding to the tension upon visiting the Wandering Weasel, Nara discovered that Tom had taken up shop west of the mountain ranges and was currently serving as a respite for the clan of skinwalkers Wolfgang's dead wife called her family. Tensions continued to mount as the Silver Rock Tournament of Champions kicked off, with Wolfgang put directly in the center of negotiations between the dragons and the sorcerers, now finding himself the party responsible for designating a meeting space for a summit. Before the conversation could get too far, however, a shrill, piercing scream and an explosive arcane pop erupted from a group of children gathered to watch the gladiatorial event. And at the explosion's center, the orphan Dedra, who Nara had recently acquired from a vile addict. While quashing as much tension as possible, or after quashing as much tension as possible and clearing a crowd, our heroes retreated to Wolfgang's home to regroup. Get my distant city sounds back up. As you can still in the background, hear the a bustle of a city still undergoing what is kind of toned down as far as like celebrations have gone, not only because the celebration is now later into the evening, but the commotion during the day has left a lot of people wiped. But there's still merriment going on in the distance that you can hear as you're currently gathered outside of Wolfgang's home. Wolfgang, I believe you had just opened the door for everybody.
Yeah.
You all head into Wolfgang's house in a... I don't know why I turned all that on. I literally could have just started this in the fucking house. Anyway. It's what I do. All right. As you gather around, the young Dedra is currently still kind of very much wiped from the day, just kind of sleeping, her arms clasped around your back, Nara, as you hold her. Young Elliot's kind of standing by your side, Wolfgang, very curious, still kind of confused about everything that happened. You can see just in his eyes that he has at least 100 questions, and they're all kind of like traffic jammed in his mouth, trying to figure which one should come out first, if any should come out right now.
For this moment, where should Asmo be? I have a couple ideas where he's been for this.
Sure.
I see Asmo has two things he's got to worry about, right? Because there's three things technically. What's happening right now in this conversation, as well as Asmo still has his plan as well, plus the fallout of that at the actual tournament grounds. So flavoring, Asmo's going to check to see if there's any correlation between the two, because an incident happened and it wasn't near where he thought it was, but Asmo's got to do his job. So
right. Yeah, at the moment, I'd say you're still probably around the arena, working the crowd, making sure that tensions get lowered. In fact, while you're in the midst of the crowd, just, keeping your eye on people and making sure everybody feels like they've been heard by you. You're a trusted face around here, as odd as that feels for you.
It's just like this is a trustworthy face. Asmo smiles with the golden tooth.
But you've been keeping these people safe for about 5 years, and they know that. So they trust you.
So Asmo's just more or less he's doing his job right now. So if you need anybody, there's runners. And trust me, Asmo's busy. Asmo's quite busy right now. Yikes.
Yeah. And as it stands, like as you're kind of like glancing around, go ahead and make me a perception check, Asmo, while you're fielding questions of people.
Yes, ma'am, yes. No, it seemed to be an accident of some kind, ma'am. That seems to be what happened.
Is it perception? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a
12?
Just a nice 12.
Nice 12. With a 12, you can see kind of near the back of the arena, near one of kind of the staging areas for where the dignitaries would be going in and out. You see, as Tim has finished his snacks and is currently leaving the arena, you see Venariel Whistlestein speaking with Darrington Loxley, trying to they appear to be just kind of chatting with each other. She seems a lot more frantic. He appears to be equal parts frantic but self-confident.
Asmo's gonna make his way over there.
Well, what's all this then?
As you make your way over to them, you catch the tail end of Venariel saying to him, "I just need all of them to be calm. I need them all to..." And as you walk up, hello, Asmo.
Hello. The people will be calm as long as heated conversations are done in private.
That's what bobs his eyebrows saying that.
Young Whistlestein here was just telling me that perhaps I should lower the price of my alcohol for the evening.
It's gotta suck to hear a good idea like that. It's gonna cost you money.
A good idea that does cost money indeed, which I do have to ask. Would there be some form of recompense from the city for this, or...?
I would argue the money you're missing out on, you'd still be rich at the end. So, how about...
Yes, but less rich.
That's true. But I think someone as, ambitious and fastidious and such a source of local trust could really benefit from being able to lower the drinks to ease everyone's anxiety. And in a lot of ways, I'm not gonna lie, you could come out even stronger for us, seeing as how you act in a crisis.
Give me a persuasion with disadvantage.
All right. Oh, here we go. Wish me luck, everybody. All right, here we go. Jankin, shoot.
Holy shit.
Oh!
I am so
No freaking way.
fucking happy. That's a 23.
I mean...
Fuck. Did not expect that.
Neither did he. He seems to be taken aback for a moment.
Trust me, there's nothing I'd like more than to beat up a bunch of people who annoy me. But in the end, you have the power, so why don't you just join in the festivities? Lower the price. You're still making a lot of money this weekend.
Asmo winks. Asmo winks, but on his patchy eye.
He kind of bites his tongue a little bit. Just for the good of the town. Very well.
I'm gonna have to say, I'm gonna have to compliment you to the city council over this.
His eyes brighten at that. Be sure you do. And I expect to see your patronage once again.
Myself or Venariel, is he talking to?
You. He knows that the town guards love to come to his establishment to drink. He knows that you like Pip. The young boy does take a shine to you, after all.
Nah, that's true. I just feel like I disappointed him once, so, in the end I could just confront the situation, or I could, avoid him. And I don't know.
He shrugs a bit. To each their own.
That's exactly it. Keep him pouring there. And have happy festival to you.
And a happy Reclamation Day to you as well. I shall go and do thy bidding. Everyone, half-price drinks at Loxley's Tavern! He starts waving, and people start cheering. Ah, Loxley! 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 Loxley!
I can't believe I had to convince him to do that, Venariel. Do you need an escort anywhere yourself? I need to be checking on things.
I should be fine. And I know he's just upset because he missed out a lot on the betting fees he was going to make for the rest of that tournament.
Oh, that's totally why he was mad. That's totally why he was mad. Which, in the end, having everyone fall into a riot would be worse, so maybe he should, glass is half full.
I think he understands that.
The more people underline the point.
Tell me, Asmo, What information have you gathered from our visiting friends from the north?
Well, my honest take on that. No one ever wants to make enemies. So, as far as I'm concerned, they're not looking to make enemies, but I don't know if they're looking to make friends. If that makes sense.
I would
I don't
wager
know.
they're looking to make certain friends. And I'm looking to wager that they're trying to gauge whether some are already enemies.
The reality is we can only trust what they tell us based on what they're saying. But in the end, it's hard not to be suspicious.
Well,
It's hard not to be suspicious on such an issue like this, considering how many lives are at stake.
this whole event has already been a logistical nightmare.
Ah, yeah, you should run security for it. You'd love it. It's great. You get so much. Well, not sleep. What's the reverse of that? Awake time. Yeah.
Perhaps you and I should trade jobs for the day.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I could barely handle my job. Under yours, I'd melt. I would immolate. I could not do it. So, props to you for being able to handle it. I just have to look tough and just talk plainly. I'm not gonna lie. I like it. Didn't think I was gonna like it.
I have to go meet with the Mistress of Coin about how to get everything set back on track. This will be
tell
a
'em
long evening.
well, no matter what you have to say, tell them Loxley's lowered their prices for alcohol. They'll probably laugh at that.
I'll tell her. All right. I trust the streets to you as always. And
Well, for now.
and in kind of like a puff of smoke, she
Oh, boy.
disappears.
So someone's just looking at him slack-jawed. What? Oh.
Meanwhile, back at Wolfgang's, you hear the sound of like small feet kind of like clamber up the front stoop as the door handle clacks and Jamat is currently darkening what part of the door his small gnomish frame can darken. He's currently out of breath. Master Wolfgang, sorry, I was helping my brother and I heard what happened and figured you'd be back here.
Easy, Jamad. Take a breath.
Yes, sorry. Old age is getting to me. He looks around the room, sees Nara Denier, and, of course, Dedra and Elliot. Can I get anybody some tea while I collect myself?
Collect
Like
yourself,
a leaf
then get the
water?
tea.
Oh, never mind.
I'll manage both. And he starts to... He closes the door, like, rolls his sleeves back down, kind of, like, buttons up a few more of his buttons, and brushes his stringy gray hair back and starts to go back to the larder to put some tea on. Leaving the three of you in the den to discuss the situation.
Security sucks.
What was that?
Your security sucks.
You can blame your boyfriend for that.
Oh, I will. But we, have stuff if magic people blow things up.
We would prefer if they didn't blow stuff up.
Don't you do barriers or spells or something?
Would you like me to put some anti-magic bracelets onto Daedra?
That might be not a bad plan until she figures it out.
least until we can get her a little bit of mastery over her newfound power.
That'd probably be good. Probably not be great if she went to that place where all the children gather and sit for long periods of time while someone talks at them. The, school that's before the school. Anyway. Yeah, it'd be great if she didn't blow up all of her other small friends.
Elliot
Or
still
do you not
stands there,
agree?
kind of a. Oh,
I
sorry.
mean,
Elliot still stands there, a fairly pensive look and an inquisitive look as well on his face.
Wolfgang will look up and over at Elliot. Something on your mind, lad?
Well, I've got powers in me too, right, Dad?
Yeah. It's, he like swirls his hand in the air to try to formulate his thoughts into words. Yours is a bit of a strange case, though. Special.
Uncle Denier told me I don't really know how to control it either, and apparently I blinded him when I was a kid or something. Threw him out of my head. Just when I was a baby, right, Uncle Denier?
Oh yeah. You hurled me out of your subconsciousness back into the real world.
And there's no way I could There's no way I could just do that, not on purpose. Does that mean that Dedra has a lot of power that she can't control too?
I think you nailed it on the head there. We suspect she's something that we refer to as the arcane innate. It means that she can do magic without a bunch of book learning or... he thinks for a moment, getting it some other way.
Like you?
Aye.
With for yours again.
Hmm?
Who did you sleep with for your magic again?
I didn't sleep with anyone.
Oh,
It
who
was
was
all-
it?
The
Uncle
Lord of
Asmos-
Light.
Uncle Asmo said that you slept with Mom.
Cut to him. They had sex.
You just hear a gun cocking out of nowhere. Wolfgang's hand isn't even on the gun.
Click.
They were fucking.
Well, that's not how it...
Wait,
The Lord of Light bestowed my family this power generations ago.
yeah, but didn't your grandpa, like, really get it on with a lot of people?
That's not relevant to this
Like,
particular
a
moment.
lot of
Thank you
people.
very much, Nara.
Elliot doesn't seem to quite understand what she means, but he giggles at the fact that it seems to be making you upset, Wolfgang.
He just rubs his forehead.
So you did get it from sleeping with someone, just not you, like your grandfather.
I don't know the bloody details.
Jamat returns with tea. If you must know, Lord Wolfgang's ancestor, long time ago, or at least his great-grandfather told me, he was essentially chosen by the Lord of Light and given his power in order to end a long and brutal war that, he points to you, Nara, your former master started with the dragons.
Say
Didn't-
chosen, though. Like, how did he give the powers to him?
Unclear.
She like tilts her chin down and raises her eyebrows.
I would surmise that either he was chosen because of his character or nobility, or perhaps it was even just at random. But
I imagine
his
it was-
ancestor was the one who was chosen.
I imagine it was through like some kind of like deal or pact. Like, you know how whenever I can summon Chimby, he's a lot stronger than Chimby normally is, right? That's
No.
because Chimby and I have a pact.
An understanding, if you will.
Currently, Jamada is handing out saucers with teacups on them for any who would like one.
And
Thank
we'll
you,
take
Jamada.
one.
Nara like leans back so the Dedra is still like hanging on her and takes the saucer of the cup and tries to like drink with both hands.
It's a lovely herbal, kind of minty tea with a slight blueberry, almost acai kind of tartness to it.
Leaf and squishy things. As per usual. Tastes good, though.
Well, I can put on more if anybody wants some.
Now,
I think we'll be fine for now, Jamad.
He's had tea out for a long time. How long does he let that tea stand? 2 or 5 minutes?
I think he just made it.
It was about, yeah, he made it. It was steeping for about 2 minutes. I timed the conversation.
I know. I'm just saying. 2 is like it's like minimum. You know, I don't know. Whatever. It's fine.
For herbal tea, you don't want to let it steep for too long. It gets bitter. Anyway.
Well, I gotta figure out what to tell people.
If she doesn't have power like I have, what sort of power does she have?
Stuff like me.
So she's the same kind of arcane innate that you are.
Something. Her shadow did a thing.
Well, then I guess you could say it's complete opposite. Your
Oh, and
power
also I
comes from
was-
the light.
I was led there by, Mother Death. So,
Hmm.
that might be like a thing.
Elliot,
You
I
got
have a
your
question.
powers. You and Mother Death had a thing.
Yeah, not like your grandpappy and, the God of Light or whatever. I just have a part of her that I use as a weapon. It was like shaking and stuff, and it led me there, and that's when I killed that guy. And I think it was leading me to Dedra.
Elliot, I've got a couple questions for you.
Yeah?
When you were all outside of that fence, so was everybody crowding around the fence? Were you all just like, how tightly were you all grouped around Dedra?
I mean, we were all there trying to get a good view, and, well, she's shorter than a lot of the kids, so she was up front. But she
Was there
started
any kind-
acting- She started acting strange when the fight started. I offered her my hand, but she kept grabbing the bars and squeezing tighter and tighter, and she looked like she was going to cry. I was going to try to pull her out of there, and as soon as I touched her, she screamed, and then my ears rang, and everybody fell down.
He glances up towards Wolfgang. I'd say, if anything, it was a traumatic response. An arcane surge happens when an arcane innate attempts to cast magic, but they're not able to control it. What it looks like with her is when she saw the fight, it triggered a number of very bad memories, and then as soon as she was touched, she instinctively, almost her body acting on its own, produced a spell to try to push people away. Because the spell that she used, Thunderclap, only affects people within a 5-foot radius of her. So this was purely defensive on her part.
So her...
Think I get it.
So she wanted to be alone, so she made it so she was alone.
Exactly. And the fact that all the kids were around her at the same time, that probably made it so much worse. Because she was probably in the center of the crowd, and she had no way out. Bars in front of her, and kids on the left, right, and behind her.
Some of them kids seemed awful mad after. I don't know that I blame them, but maybe I should help them understand.
I think it would be good coming from you, yeah.
Elliot will remember this.
Now, the question is, how are we going to stop this from happening in the future? Do you want to admit her to the academy, or do you want Nara to train her specifically? If we do go with the academy, it might be a good idea to send Elliot along to the academy as well to help her along and maybe train up a little bit for him.
Elliot looks to you kind of excitedly, Wolfgang. Am I ready for the academy?
At this point, Elliot's like 6, right?
He's about 6, yeah. Going on 7.
It's an age you can reason with. Come on, no, this is good. This is good.
He strokes his beard and he thinks for a moment. He looks up at Denier. Like, what's your opinion on the matter?
The biggest thing that we're going to want to do is to show the community that we're taking steps in order to make sure that this doesn't happen. So we're going to have to do something with Daedra to show that she's being trained in order to contain her abilities and make sure that this doesn't happen again. But training her without somebody close by that she trusts is going to cause issues and additional stress. So if you want to go with Nara teaching her, and if Nara is willing to be able to do that kind of thing, that'd be a good idea. Or going with the academy, I'd be happy to have them in the academy. God knows I've been wanting to figure out more about Elliot. The kid's a Molotov cocktail of powers, and I want to figure out how it works, so to say.
You know, he's standing right there.
He's kind of squinting at that and scratching his chin.
That's why I'm saying everything in only positive ways.
What's
because the kid is strong, and I want him to become stronger.
Wolfgang like scratches his chin at the question, "What's a Molotov?" It's just I'll tell you later. Right now, I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but Nara, what do you think?
Nara looks up from her tea.
Huh?
The small
Yeah,
child
go ahead and send her
is-
to the academy.
The small child is still clasped around you, sleeping on your
Yeah, there's a
chest.
world
And
of
Nara
this
is
guy.
like leaned back in like JoJo pose, leaned back so that Dedra won't fall off of her while she holds the saucer and teacup.
You could also sit down in
think
a
the-
chair.
No, she didn't think of that.
Okay.
I think the academy would be good for her.
Yeah, weren't we planning that all along? She already said she wanted to do that.
Well, that settles that then.
I don't know if she understands that I won't be there, but we'll figure that out.
I mean, given that you are arcane innate yourself, you're welcome to come to the academy. You might be able to pick up something, a tip or trick or two.
I'll think about it.
Well, and he sort of looks down at Elliot,
Elliot
pats his head a little
yawns.
bit.
Then he, like, kind of shrugs his shoulders up, gives, like, a taut little smile, and then looks back up at you. Wipes a little bit of sleep out of his eyes.
Guess we'll see about getting you set up at the academy then.
He smiles brightly.
Oh, I'm going to teach you so many things, kid. So much better than hold the knife.
They play that there. You stole it. They do play hold the knife there, by the way. So just start a game and they'll figure it out as you go. Okay?
Don't do that. Just
Elliot
softly,
nods.
Don't.
Elliot nods to you, Nara, and then as soon as Wolfgang says "don't," he looks up to Wolfgang, and then just looks back at you straight face, Nara.
She nods in comprehension.
But we do have one more thing that we need to talk about.
It wasn't my fault.
I mean, part of it is a little bit.
Not directly.
We have one key, and we have an entire tribe of people that need to be evacuated.
Oh, forgot all about them. Ooh, they did kind of leave me in charge of the fate of their people, and I forgot. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think the
Kinda
academy
looking at-
is-
Elliot's kind of looking around the room confused now.
Well, what are you guys doing about that?
She looks at Daenerys and Wolfgang like, this is not a Nara thing. This is a you guys thing, which means it's your problem.
The thing is,
We-
Go ahead, Connor.
No, you go ahead.
The thing
You could
is,
probably explain it better.
So there's a group you met the group. They're over across the mountain, and apparently they've been taking some injuries from the big red dragon, and they need to get out of it. But they haven't been able to get in contact with us. They've been trying to send word to Wolfgang for a while. The thing is, their tribe is scattered. And Red Screech says that he will not leave his people behind. And we have one key, which means we have one shot. On top of the forces that are to the west. Now, what we could do, there's a couple different options that we have here, depending on what Tom does. We could see if Tom will let us trade keys out, used keys for activated keys to be able to get more people out. We could stay in communication with Red Screech for the next few days and have him get his people to the Weasel as quickly as possible. And as soon as he's ready, we pop over, grab them, and get them out. But depending on if there's Nidhogg's forces, we run the risk of drawing Nidhogg's attention. We can get some of them out for sure. But the question is, how many can we get out? And then after that, it's a matter of being able to house that many people. We do have a couple villages to the east. I set up some villages over to the east along with Daniel Peaches a while back. We also have Wild's Edge, and we can set up additional housing here if we need to.
I think that necklace you got might pay dividends, Nara.
Ooh. Oh, I'm gonna have to figure out somewhere for little ass to go. Maybe he can hang out. No, he can't.
Well,
He's
that
cute,
depends
good.
on how it... The likelihood of the necklace working, bringing them back through the doorway, is likely not going to work. The fact of getting them all into the orb and then, say, using a teleportation circle, that might be better, but it could still be risky.
That's what I was thinking.
That also focuses... This is also writing on one big key factor. How long is Tom going to keep the Weasel stationary?
That is true. We don't know of any other teleportation circles in the West, do we?
Mm-mm. I actively tried to find them whenever we were with Dogan.
Oh, they really hate him, by the way. Like a lot.
Why is that?
He's not doing anything.
You know how Dogan is. He's not exactly the sharpest knife in the crayon drawer.
Like, call him.
You don't think he owes us one, do you?
He absolutely does, and that one that he owes is when everything breaks down, he'll be ready to go.
Right.
Getting down. But it's kind of like his fault it's broken down, because isn't that like his spot?
Denier tilts his head back and forth a little bit as though he's going through a number of things in his own head. It's complicated. We can still we can still stay in contact with them. I do know that I need to go to Tom for a little bit. He has some knowledge that I need. So I'm not against. Red Screech and his folks have done good by me, so I want to be able to try to help them out.
And I'll give you every leave to try and get him out of there. It's just a matter of doing it quickly, cleanly, and as many as we can.
There's a knock at your door, Wolfgang.
I'll get it.
Are you sure, sir?
Yeah, I got it. And he'll set his tea down and he'll go over to the door and open it.
As you open the door, dressed in the kind of tawny blue and silver-lined cloak is one of Venariel's aides. She greets you. I hope it isn't too late, Lord Connolly. I come bearing a message from Miss Venariel.
No, of course. Please speak.
She wanted to inform you that everything is in place for the statues reveal, the monuments reveal tomorrow morning. Everything is ready for that, and that she has gone ahead and scheduled a meeting of the council for the day afterwards.
Very good.
Is there anything you would like me to inform her?
Tell her that the incident at today's tournament is being handled. We have a plan in place.
Would you like me to schedule the meeting further up, or would you like to keep it for the day after tomorrow?
Asmo's probably going to need a night just to be able to unwind because he's running himself ragged as is.
I'll leave it for the day after tomorrow, then.
Yes, thank you.
Of course. Good night, sir.
Good night.
And she heads off.
Closes the door.
Speaking of Asmo, Nara, I have something that I'd like to talk to you about privately at a later time concerning Asmo, if you don't mind.
It's too much pork rinds.
Why?
He gives a smile. Something that I've got an idea. You remember how Asmo said that he enjoys magical pranks, right?
She squints.
No?
Well, earlier at the tournament, he said he enjoys magical pranks. So I thought, he's been working too hard. Let's you and me work together and give Asmo a little bit of a magical prank.
Okay. If it's something he likes, why not?
Well, that'll be up to you.
Squints again. Sips tea.
All right.
Above game, Caitlin, it's the thing we talked about.
Oh, good. I'm ready.
All right. What would y'all do for the rest of the evening as Elliot goes and prepares for bed?
If Nara has nothing to do besides take care of Daedra, Daenerys would probably work with Nara and set the plan in action.
Wolfgang would probably just... he'll unfurl a piece of paper from his desk and he'll mumble while reading it to himself and gesticulate, and we're unified people and no, should I rewrite that? Bloody hell.
Do you want me to write your speech?
No, absolutely. Do you even know how to write?
Jamad walks up and sets a fresh cup of tea next to you, Wolfgang. Ouch. And
Thank
then
you.
walks away.
I love your gatekeeping.
She cocks
right
a hip.
How many languages do you know?
If I had to list them in order, I know the common tongue, I know Elven, and I know Celestial.
Right. I know 6, so yes, I can read.
You win language.
I didn't ask if you could read. I asked if you could write.
How do you think I learned them? By reading.
He'll take out a blank piece of paper and a pen and slide it over to her.
She will look so pissed and will take this pen and begins to write the most like eloquent print, like almost like a font.
No, hold on. Now, hold on.
Calligraphy?
There's got to be a challenge on that. Knowing Nara. No offense.
No. She had to work for Solomon, and anything he didn't want to do, he had her do. So she could, like, forge a letter if she wanted.
What is a forgery check in this?
There is.
I think
It's
I
a
think there's
forgery
whole kit
skill.
for it.
There's also a calligraphy toolkit as well.
Yeah, a forger's kit.
Yeah, but I'm wondering what it is if you don't have the kit.
It's like dexterity or intelligence, probably.
Probably.
Yeah, I think it'd be Dex, just a straight up Dex
probably,
check.
Probably, yeah.
Next check.
Yeah.
The tool and the proficiency just lets you add proficiency to your roll.
Yes.
Wait. So what am I clicking?
Just dexterity, like the big
Okay.
old
Yeah,
box.
the word dexterity on the
15.
far right.
It's definitely highly above average writing.
And when she hands you the paper, you start reading it, and as your eyes hit the page and you start reading it, she goes,
There is no night without a dawning, no winter without a spring, and beyond the dark horizon our hearts will once more sing. For those who leave us for a while have only gone away, out of a restless, careworn world into a brighter day. That is poetry, that is from Steiner. Enjoy.
Yeah, but it's not a speech.
Yes, but I know how to mimic things, and I've written a million speeches at this point, so I can probably do one.
Well, and he flips the paper over on this back and slides it back over. Get to it then.
all right.
Since you
So
offered.
She'll, in about,
Wow, no you, the mode.
so she immediately starts scribbling away. Shall I do a roll for how well her speech writing is?
A speech would definitely be charisma.
Okay, so just a straight charisma roll.
Straight charisma.
11.
It's very well worded, but not inspiring. Just due to the fact that that's not necessarily your mode.
Right. She's
it's very
mad.
it's very pragmatic.
So she hands it to him and is like,
This would have been better, but someone may be mad today, so enjoy.
You know, I like the part where you brought up how much you liked the fried pork skins, but
Yeah, lead with a joke.
Those were delicious.
she leans in really close.
Those were delicious. Life-changing. If anyone's gonna care about your speech, they need to have something to care about. So that's why I opened with the pork rinds. All right?
Yes, I will unify my people with our shared love of pork rinds.
The
I'm not gonna
Rhine!
say I understand all of the words that I wrote. I just know that they go together in the way that I wrote them.
This is how ChatGPT works. You do know that, right?
Nara's brain is literally like Chat GPT. Like when you first met her,
Just like
she hadn't had to practice speaking with other people, so she was just like stringing things together that she thought worked. And now she,
Her whole
Yeah.
culture was soon as boiled down to the statement, "It goes without saying."
yes, correct.
Indeed.
She throws the pen on the table.
Can I write? Obviously, I can write. I just couldn't speak before. But that's just using mouth words with people instead of right words with people. Whatever.
Huffs off, goes into
Nope.
a different room, and raids his kitchen.
He'll clean
That's for
off his
tomorrow.
whatever.
Never mind. I'll make something new.
Wolfgang will clean whatever ink spillage happened from his desk.
Absolutely.
Then he'll look between Nara's speech. He'll look between his own speech. And then he'll like.
No. You have to roll for your speech. How good is your speech compared to mine?
I think he has
All
one
right.
pre-planned.
I did actually write one.
But now we're gonna find out if Nara wrote it or you did.
Okay.
We'll figure out
I
how
mean-
much.
Screw you!
We'll figure out how much of it you cribbed from Nara. How about that?
Okay.
Sure.
Go ahead and roll.
Now
charisma.
is the winter of our discontent.
Also, the spring of it too.
7 years ago. Charisma check. That's a soft
Oh
20.
come on! Whatever.
Wolfgang has a way with people.
I'm so sad I couldn't steal some of your speech as my work that I can't retroactively plagiarize what you wrote. Anyway.
For the record, I was going to take whatever below 20 he got and give you that much credit, but then he rolled a soft 20, so.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine.
Let's go.
No. You go.
Dedra continues hanging from your neck, Nara, as you scrounge through Wolfgang's pantry. Denier, what are you doing for the rest of the evening?
I would have, depending on if Nara was willing to assist me in my task, I would have either gone through with my prank alone, or I would have had Nara's assistance for my prank.
Nara would help.
Asmo is currently patrolling the streets.
Dun, 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 dun.
He has to sleep sometime.
Dun, 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 dun.
Asmo, make me a Constitution check.
Asmus needs to go to bed soon. He knows this to be true, but fair enough. Wait, where's my? Oh, there it is. Constitution check, you said?
Yeah, it's one of those tired but wired situations. Let's see.
Oh, save. Sorry. Let me try it. There's Constitution. All right, 20. Hey, I'll
Wow,
take it.
still a 21. That's
Okay,
impressive.
I'll take it.
Asma, you don't feel like you have to sleep at all. Today has got your adrenaline pumping. You're going to be tired if you don't at some point, but
Yeah, that's why Asmo has to.
right now you are still like fielding concerns from people, especially as they have gotten drunker and chattier.
Visual presence. It's kind of something they do at big like sporting events and stuff, or any big events. It's just imperative for people to feel safe. Just have a bunch of bored-looking cops standing around, apparently, for
Yeah,
security guards and stuff like that.
would-
Nice.
Would Denier, Nara, what would you do with Dedra for tonight?
She would probably try and get her to sleep after
Tuck
they
her
figured
in.
out the bracelet thing. Yeah. As best she can get her to anyway.
For the bracelets themselves, you'd probably have to go to the academy. I'm assuming. I'm assuming
actually
you don't. I'm assuming you don't carry that stuff on you, Daenerys.
No. Because if I carry it on me, if I get captured, it could be used against me.
It's true.
That's true.
That's
So
why you
yes,
never open up things.
so after being mad about the speech thing, Nara would probably go with Daenerys to figure out how to get those bracelets for her for now.
Yeah, you yoink a string of sausage out of Wolfgang's pantry and then go trouncing out the door.
I could see Daenerys assisting Nara with getting the bracelets set up, or at least getting a hold of some bracelets.
Meanwhile, at the Academy for the Arcane Innate. Where's my sound for this one? I have things for... There it is. As you make your way into the Academy, you hear the soft murmuring of some of the students as they've returned to their dorms. You see like the soft fire glow in one of the hallways leading to the dormitories as you make your way in. And let's see. The halls are currently being patrolled by animated suits of armor. And you see kind of in like the mid to upper kind of like swirl of the staircase, a few staff members kind of roaming around, kind of making their way up to their offices. But it seems to be a kind of quiet night here. Quiet as usual. Maybe quieter even.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, given that a lot of students are probably exhausted from festivities and all that.
A lot of them still might be out there.
Yeah.
True.
Except the ones that are giggling right now. You make your way over to the basically the center for when you're onboarding new sorcerers, where you keep a lot of the gear that would, especially for stronger cases, keep their abilities at bay.
Mm-hmm. And is Nara with me at this point, or am I by myself?
Nara?
She is with you.
Okay. You feel as you kind of enter this place, your own kind of sorcerous vibrations kind of like break down a little bit. You're like you feel like less of a connection to your shadow. You feel almost kind of like hollow and slightly warmer when you're walking around in here. Like trying to access your magic would be a little bit more difficult than it usually would be for you.
Okay.
Not impossible by far, but weaker.
It'd be
certainly.
more of a chore. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you'd definitely be able to at will. It just wouldn't feel as strong. In this room is also a lot of the devices and implements that you would use to normally test new Arcane Innate students. A few stations by which you'd be able to kind of gauge their affinities and things like that.
Now, given that the school has been around for about 5 years or so, do I only have how many different kinds of sorcerers do I?
I mean, a vast, vast majority of them are wild magic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
There are a couple of Dragonborn here and there. Those that have either moved from Dragon's Rest and have taken up shop here. But a vast, vast majority of those that are Arcane Innate here are wild magic. Just born with it and unable to control it.
Okay. This is where we get everybody orientated. We do the test and everything like that. We should have a pair of bracelets in her size.
It's actually
right over
rare
here.
It's actually very rare to have a child this young, but
I see. How old are they typically whenever they get ready to join the academy?
usually it's around like just pre-pubescent to slightly post-pubescent. That's usually when the powers really start kicking in. Every now and again, you have a case where there's like a baby that has like a bit of a flare-up, but normally the parents would rather they just have some equipment installed in the home or some runes inscribed around the rooms and stuff to make sure that they don't go off, rather than shackling their baby.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. And I assume that I would have like a pair of these bracelets on hand for someone her size and her age, yes?
You go ahead and give me an investigation check. With advantage, because you know where things are.
Okie doke. 17.
17? Yeah, you managed to find like not necessarily like bracers or anything like that, but you do find kind of a collar almost. Not necessarily, not like a dog collar, but almost like a it's basically like a circlet that a 14 or 15-year-old might wear on their head, but she could wear around her neck.
Okay. He shows the circlet over to Nora. This should do. She's too small to wear it on her head, but it might work as a necklace.
To make sure she's up before I put it on her, though. Don't really want her to freak out.
Then he'll hand it over towards her. All you gotta do, and he will go through the basic instructions on how to put it on, and then how to activate it.
Okay.
The best way that I can describe how it's going to feel, it's like you've got on a really, really tight sweater, and then when you finally take it off, it's like pulling off that sweater at the end of the day.
Gotcha.
You can see as you set her down, Nara, in order to try to put this on her, that her eyes kind of start to squint open, and she kind of like grabs at her elbow and starts scratching a little bit as she looks around this new strange room. It's kind of dark and really uninviting.
Hey, Dedra.
She locks eyes with you.
So you
You
know
see-
how you had that thing earlier?
She glances away and just kind of shallowly nods.
You're not in trouble. You're okay.
Looks back to you.
This...
She holds up a necklace and kind of shows it in not like a collar way, but like a necklace way.
Hmm.
This is a necklace. It's gonna help you not have that happen. Is that okay if you wear it?
She nods tentatively.
Did Nara ever wear something like this?
Did she?
I don't know.
Nothing that ever dampened your power, but
Okay.
Listen, this is going to be what you wear until you figure out how to use your powers, okay? When you
She
figure out your
nods.
powers, you can wear a different necklace, like this.
And she points at one of her many, many sapphire pieces of jewelry.
Sorry, I'm back.
her eyes widen and you can see the blue jewel kind of glistening in the doll-like mirror sheen of her irises.
How do you get all those anyway?
She slowly turns and her face gets really, like, serious.
Don't ask questions, Daenerys.
Turns back to Dedra.
When you figure out your powers, you'll get a new necklace. How about that?
She nods in understanding.
So she'll then go through the rigmarole of putting the necklace on her.
As soon as you put it around her neck and the runes on the inside of it begin to glow, the dampening effect kind of taking effect, you see her shadow as it goes from like a deep, dark, almost Vanta black to the translucent, semi-opaque black of a normal shadow.
Thing.
She's gonna undo all of that real quick.
So you're going to take the dampener off.
Uh-huh.
As you do, starting from the points of the shadow that touch her body, you see the shadow begin to darken fuller as it fills up the rest of her silhouette.
Uh-huh.
She kind of like does that squat near the ground, looks at the shadow.
Can you hear me? Or...
Deirdre kind of tilts her head and then nods.
Can your shadow hear me?
She actually shows like a little bit of emotion here where she like kind of squints a little in like slight confusion and non-understanding.
Daenerys, is there a quiet room somewhere here?
Plenty of them.
Can we find one?
Sure. Come on, I'll take you up to the dream classroom. And he will lead her upstairs towards the classroom that they specifically use when he leads a dream training session.
It is a large room with a domed ceiling. Kind of almost kind of like hexagonal in nature with a bunch of like panels that kind of smooth out as they go around, creating this dome-like feature. You can see in the ceiling that there are small runes carved into each and every square inch of the space up there that Daenerys can use to better amplify the dream magic within this room. It's very quiet and seems to be sound dampened from the inside so that sound in here and sound outside do not escape or do not commingle.
There'll be no escape.
All right, Dedra. Look at my shadow.
As you point to your shadow, she looks at it.
Whisper.
Just an address, not a calling it to attack anything.
Right. Your shadow slowly begins to morph into a different shape, taking the shape of a large cat. Still in the ground, but two amethyst-like purple eyes begin to shine out of the shadow and look up toward you.
She watches Dedra.
Her eyes have widened in wonder and amazement. She does not seem afraid.
Oh.
Almost enraptured.
So this is a result of something that happened when I was born. Something with my mom passing away. I think I died with her. And then something happened, and now her soul is bound to me. And that is my mom.
She points down at Whisper.
She goes from looking up at you back down to the shadow kitty as she slowly creeps towards it and kind of like haunches down in that very low, deep squat that only children can do before their hamstrings get too tight. And kind of puts her hand on the ground next to where the kitty's face is, and slowly a large panther-like shadow paw reaches up out of the ground itself and places itself gently on top of Didra's hand. And you can see her shadow begin to ripple as it does, kind of going oblong, creating a kind of a larger shadow than the little girl should be able to create. But her eyes just continue to look at the shadow kitty, and Whisper looks back with a very gentle expression on its face.
Oh, from what I can guess, you have a something similar yourself.
The paw slowly removes itself from the top of her hand and sinks back into the shadow. And Dedra glances down and then up at you, and then back down and then up at you. Clearly not understanding everything that's happening. She's only 4 after all.
Oh. I don't know what that is. But I don't really want to... Huh?
Oh, her shadow slowly shrinks back down to her normal frame. That's what I was going to say.
She looks up at Denier like, you saw that, right?
Denier nods.
And just so you know, you can't tell anybody about that, okay?
She nods.
We're going to help you figure all of this out. We're going to help you be able to learn about what is deep inside of you and to help you be able to bring it out. Would you like for us to do that?
She looks up at you, Denier, then back down to the silhouette of Whisper, then up to you, and then points at you, and then points at Whisper.
She's commenting that we're both cats, huh?
Yeah. She appears to be.
He gives a slight tilt of the head. A little bit different, but yeah. A little bit.
And she nods.
He brings out a hand, and as he waves it, a little black cat manifests nearby and walks along the room just behind her. This is a major image, by the way. It wanders through her leg, and as it walks away, it slowly vanishes.
As it walks between her legs, she kind of like jumps with a start for a moment as she watches it, and then as it vanishes, you can see her eyes kind of glisten with a little bit of wonder. And then she looks to you, Nara, then up to you, Denier, then back to you, Nara, then down to the shadow kitty. Before ultimately resting her eyes back on Denier.
He gives a little bit of a smile. Now, one thing that I want you to know if you ever see me, he waves a hand in front of its face. No matter where I am, it's going to be okay.
Give me persuasion with advantage.
Oh, well done.
Okie doke. Persuasion. 23.
She nods.
If it's one thing I'm good at, it's magic. And I'm okay at teaching people. Between me and her, one day you're going to be as strong as both of us.
She looks kind of confused at that. And then looks back to you, Nara.
She gives a thumbs up. Like, sure.
Nara, give me an insight check when you look at her.
Nine.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to read much out of the stare that she's giving you, considering a lot of them have that same glassy-eyed look to them at this point.
Okay.
But she does seem to be looking at you with kind of a mixture of kind of confusion and reverence.
And she will go to put the necklace back on her.
And she does not resist. And as you get it around her neck and the runes begin to glow again and her shadow becomes more opaque, you do see a tear as it kind of like swells up in her eye for a moment. She seems confused by its presence as well.
Yeah. Nara considered telling her about how it may be her mom too, but too many things in probably 48 hours, and she seems overwhelmed by everything.
Yeah. Almost killing half a dozen kids is kind of odd.
Oh, I thought you were... Never mind.
Well, there's a lot of other things also, but...
Well, yeah, yes. What Dedra has done, yes.
Yes. She just lets the tears sit there.
Why are you upset? Or do you know why?
She shakes her head.
So, you want to train at the school and become stronger?
She looks back to Denier. Then she looks back at you and she nods. One solitary nod.
Do you want Elliot to come to the school with you so you can have a friend here?
When you say Elliot, her head snaps to you. And then she kind of like looks down. And then gives a very sheepish nod.
He gives a little bit of a smile. I have already talked to him. I think he's going to want that too.
Is it late at night? I forget. Like evening.
It's pretty late in the evening by this point. The sun's been down for a few hours.
Okay. Were they doing the unveiling thing tonight or the next day? I forget.
They'll be doing it tomorrow morning.
I see.
Due to the hullabaloo at the arena.
Got it.
Denier,
Hmm?
couldn't you ask around the school about teleporting people?
How so?
I don't know. Isn't there, like, someone else who knows a bunch of stuff about magic things and moving people around?
For the most part, nobody in the school is more adept at that level of magic than I am. Maybe, and he thinks for a second. Hazelfar, I don't. He's about my level, but I don't know if he uses conjuration magic like that. But Nariel might be somebody to talk to.
Nara, make me or both of you make me a perception check, I guess.
20.
20.
You kind of track at the corner of your eye as Deirdre, who is very tired, kind of just goes and like sits down on one of the very large pillows, like one of the big, large, fluffy pillows that dot the floor of this classroom for all the dreamers out there. And as you do, you see the doorway. A shadow moves, kind of like you can see a shadow move at the crack of the doorway. From outside the door.
He'll move over and he'll reach out and wave a hand to Mage Hand and open the door.
As you open the door, you see slowly backing away Thermian Haslafar, the tiger tabaxi.
Terribly sorry, I didn't mean to intrude.
It's quite all right. Please, come in.
I just heard rumblings, and then I heard my name, and...
Is that, I want to insight him, if that's true, or he's been eavesdropping.
Go ahead.
Insight, right?
Yeah.
22?
He seems to be genuine.
Nara
It's the way you
stares
said
him
seems.
down.
I use that on purpose.
Yeah, I bet.
How long you been standing there?
I was wandering up about doing my rounds, and only stood here once I heard the rumblings inside, and then I made out Master Denir's voice, and I don't believe we've been acquainted. Hello, I am Thermian Haslafar.
Nara. What all did you hear?
I heard something about teleportation and asking me, and I don't have much knowledge in that realm, I'm afraid.
Is that all
Just
he
to
heard?
answer
Nick?
You can make me another insight check.
Yeah, betcha.
Just
14. Darn.
it seems to be all he knows.
Yeah.
just to make any further questions on that front. I am better at blocking spells and stopping them from happening than I am at, well, that and illusions. I'm pretty good at those two.
Do you know about teleportation?
I know of it, but it's not my core course of study.
Do you know anyone else who does it?
Well, there are plenty of people here who study the arts of moving one thing to another place in the fewest amount of movement, I guess, would be the... He's like looking to you, Denir, for like the...
Moving things from one place to the other with the least amount of effort.
Yes.
He gives a little bit of a smile towards Nora. Master Hazelfar here is one of the most useful members of the staff currently. He is if you pay attention to his whiskers, they will always twitch right before a arcane surge happens nearby.
I like to stay on my toes and always be ready in case something were to happen.
As it turns out, we're going to be taking in a couple younger students to the academy fairly soon.
He points his clawed finger over towards Dedra.
Is that one of our new charges, I take it?
Indeed. She had a, let's just say, an incident earlier in the evening. It wasn't a surge, but it was a traumatic defensive response.
Oh, I heard there was an incident out in town. To think it was caused by such a small child. She'll be well looked after here.
He looks to you, Nara.
Insight 23.
I mean, he seems genuine about the fact that she'll be well looked after here. He doesn't seem to have any ulterior motive with that.
Guess we'll see.
He does not seem to wish the child harm.
Yeah, but does he have a nefarious plot? Is she going to be part of it? Is he going to be a mastermind? Something?
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm going to keep inciting this guy the whole time now.
Inside.
I mean, given my track record with selecting people to be close to me, he's probably a demon in disguise.
I mean,
What?
probably so.
Yeah, I just imagine you giving him the Griffith stare that entire time he's in the room.
Oh.
Just like your eyes are beaded and he's just like staring into his soul as much as you can.
Uh-huh.
Beads of sweat dripping down his tiger brow.
She's very intense.
You have no idea. And this is her casual. You should see her when she gets intense.
Oh dear.
Asmo sneezes. There we go.
The noble you were talking to.
Bless you.
Yeah, bless you. Does a little hand. Asmo does a hand thing to try and be like the blessings. Doesn't no attempt to be accurate. So there you go. Yes, blessings to you too. And also your spirit, whatever.
We've also moved the ceremony with the statue up to tomorrow morning.
Yes, the message came by earlier. I was going to bring it to your office, but apparently you already know.
He gives a nod.
I suppose that shouldn't surprise me.
Not with as big a ears as I have. You'd be surprised what I hear.
Well, if that'll be all, I'll continue with my rounds for the evening.
Wonderful. Much appreciated, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You as well, sir.
And he wanders back out into the halls and you hear him walk away.
He turns back towards Nara. He's well traveled. I hired him on to temporarily headmaster the academy whenever I'm forced to leave the city for whatever reason. For right now, he's a teacher, and he is training up to learn more to be able to lead the school, so to say.
Yeah, but does he know Ramses?
He has been up north, but I don't think so. He might
How
know
long
of
was he up
him.
north? When was he up north?
He was heading up north to learn more about it, and this was either... And, Lenny, if I need to, let me roll history checks on this, but he was heading up north to try to learn more about it, and I believe this was either just before or during his incident. But after he had learned about the school down here, he turned around, made a U-turn, and came right for us.
He was studying up north for a while, just traveling from place to place, trying to make his way up to Ice Forge. But before he could make it to Ice Forge is when the incident happened. And then he got the fuck out while the insurrection took place.
Basically, he was studying up there for a while, but as soon as the insurrection started, he got out of there real quick.
Ooh.
I guess time will tell.
I have been keeping an eye on him every now and again, just to make sure, as I do all my staff.
He's stalking him in the shadows. Should we go back then?
I mean, she looks comfortable. Emotions over.
Yeah, Dedra's currently curled up on a pillow and is zonked out.
You can't beat him, join him.
She lines up a bunch of pillows and pumps down on top of them.
They are very comfortable. They smell of old herbs.
She immediately goes into trance sleep. Just kind of leaving Denier there.
Denier will walk over, change the door to a sign that a session is currently happening. He'll walk back to the seat that he's normally in. He'll settle down and allow himself to fade into the dream realm. He's going to keep an eye on Dedra. He's going to keep an eye on her to see like what kind of dream she has. And if there's any way that he can help her via dreams, like therapy, keeping nightmares away, or at least conversing with the nightmares to tone down their nightmare activities until a point where we can get her stable.
As you fade into the dream realm, the domed space around you slowly becomes the domed cap or the domed core of the dreamatorium within your dream mansion, your dream castle. Surrounded by cosmic windows, there are two very prominent dreams floating about you. One appears to be kind of like a mesh of static. You believe this to be Nara, as she does not typically dream when she is in trance state.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, a swirling mound of darkness with glimpses of light every now and again. As you look to this swirling mound, you realize that very much like your old acquaintance Phobos, Nedra's dreams are surrounded by the spirits and the apparitions of nightmare.
How many of them are focusing on her at this moment?
They appear like it almost looks like a ball of vipers. Like you see this almost Ouroboros-like effect of one swooshing into the center, another one swooshing out. There appear to be at least 20, 30, maybe even 40 of them. It looks almost like a knotted ball of yarn with how many of these things are surrounding her dream core.
And given that Dreamwalker doesn't have as much experience with nightmares, can I roll an Arcana check to kind of lessen, to ease her dream at the very least, or lessen the amount of nightmares that are attacking her?
You can give me an Arcana check to try to at least make sense of some of these. Go ahead and give me an Arcana check.
That's an 18.
18? You could probably peel away a few of these, but you get the sense, just due to your knowledge of dreams, that these don't seem to mean Dedra harm. They are there almost like the scab on a psyche. Like they are there performing, like they are there, this knotted ball of darkness, to stop outside influence from interfering. Could you tear through it by force? Possibly. What would happen if you did? You're not sure it would be good.
Okay. So this is a positive thing. Then at least if it's a positive force protecting her, then I will let it be aware of my presence, but I will not change it or force it if it is actively protecting her.
If you actively approach it, a few of the Thresh mod snake-like shadowy apparitions that surround her dream core would probably start to like swerve up and look at you, almost as if you were like some sort of snack entering their territory. But if you make no further movements, they would go back to their thrashing and diving in and out.
Tilts his head. He'll actually try to speak to them. I bode no ill will to the child. I am here to attempt to help her troubled mind.
Go ahead and make me a persuasion check.
19.
One of the heads seems to take notice of you.
You would attempt in vain. What remains are shattered scraps.
He gives a little bit of a smile. I've done the impossible before. I can do it again.
Not until we've done our part.
You are protecting her psyche from outside influence, yes?
Without eyes, it's hard to tell how this thing judges.
We seek to scrape away what needs to be scraped, to consume what needs consuming, to leave what is left, to remove what would stop us.
And what is it that you intend to consume?
Pain.
That's a red flag.
Are you part of her shadow?
It doesn't seem to know how to respond to that.
Are you a part of the girl, or are you a part of the dream realm?
We are of the dreaming cat man. We consume the pain that the mind cannot handle.
All of a sudden, the girl's numbness seems to make a lot of sense to you.
It's basically eating the painful emotions.
It's eating, yeah, the most raw and extreme of her emotions. And based on the sheer number of these things, she seems to have a lot of them.
What can those of the waking world do to assist in your duties?
The waking world has no part in our world. You who walks among dreams should know this best.
It has no part, but it can affect the Sea of Dreams.
Another head looks up, then another, then another, then another, then another. They seem to quiver.
What have you brought?
And you hear the loud knocking at the front of your door.
Kong, Kong, Kong.
I know not. And he vanishes and appears in front of the door. He waves it and the door turns transparent.
Standing on the other side of the door is a familiar form. The form of Ramses Palto.
Hello, old friend.
Hello there.
Does he look as I know him, or has he taken his true form?
He looks as you know him, but there's an inescapable air about him. Something different. Something that is equal parts familiar and chilling.
It would take a few moments before Denier would force that smile on his face. Ah, Ramses, good to see you. Please. Waves his hand and allows the door open. I've been speaking with your diplomats.
Yes.
They've been quite well.
Yes, I would love to speak with you on that front, if I may come in.
By all means.
And
He
here's-
waves his hand in the small entryway, the stairway leading up to what looks like a old-timey stone kitchen with a long table and a pair of stools there. A teapot appears as he
And
moves
as he-
over and settles down.
As he wanders in and settles down beside you, here is where we will take a quick break as the door closes behind him. Hey guys, Lani here. I just wanted to thank you for rolling with us. And if you wanted to catch us live, you can do so almost every Monday at 5 o'clock Central Time over on twitch.tv/Lanipator. Now, back to the show. So, Denier, as you and Ramses sit down at your lovely little dream coffee nook, I was delighted to hear they all arrived safely. How have they been? Have they been taking well to your town?
They have. I believe his name is Kim, has been really enjoying the Yumberries. Corvin did very well in the tournament that we had. He and I had a conversation, and I suggested that he take part, given that this is a celebration of cooperation between the Arcanonate and the common folk, and between countries, and so on and so forth. Did very well.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. I wanted to stop in and wish you personally a very happy Reclamation Day for you and your people, and I do want to apologize again that I could not make it myself. It has been a very busy few weeks up here.
Denier's face gets a little bit sorrowful as he gives a nod. The diplomatic party, they told us what happened.
Yes, the attack left me very wounded, but Luckily, my children were there. They brought me back from the brink.
He gives a bit of a nod. From what I understand the attack stopped the Ascension Day festivities.
Yes, the diplomats that are there with you now were the ones who were meant to ascend. Unfortunately, they were unable to.
He gives a gentle nod. Even though they were unable to, they still do you and your kingdom quite a bit of honor.
I'm glad to hear you say that. It's come to my attention, Denier, that on a darker matter, the man who attempted to take my life, he is acquainted with an associate of yours.
He tilts his head a little bit.
I believe he goes by the name Kage Roshi. And he seems to have some relationship to the drow that you travel with.
I believe I have heard of him. I've never laid eyes on this man, but I have heard of him. He has I believe he has enemies to the west that is very, let's just say, not happy with this man.
A man such as him has enemies everywhere. He is a blade for hire. I do not begrudge him his job, simply his choice of contract. If I were to know who contracted him, it would save him a lot of trouble. But he seems very unwilling to give it.
He gives a gentle nod. This attempt, it caught us all off guard. And
Certainly caught me off guard. A kind of shrewd smile crosses his face for a moment.
he gives a slight smile. But as you've always been as tough as ever, even something as bad as this, I knew that if anything were to ever happen, you'd make it through just fine. Bahum seems to have known nothing about this, at least when Leif, Bordish, and Tim talked to him earlier this day.
A kind of smug, if a little wry, smile across his face.
Yes, I'm sure he doesn't. But as is the dangerous game we play, though, isn't it?
Politics is nothing but cloak and daggers.
I have no small doubt that he still harbors much ill will for my affronts towards Dragon's Rest. I have always wished to make amends on that front, but they've never wanted to discuss it. Now it would seem I still don't wish to jump to conclusions.
He did, just to give you a heads up, you're probably going to be finding this out in just a few days. He has agreed to talks between you and him. Your team managed to secure a summit, an agreement for a summit between the North and the South.
And I'm to assume Lord Connolly is to choose the venue.
He gives a bit of a nod.
As expected.
They suggested that.
He nods.
j-
He
just-
nods a very knowing nod.
But this man, the way that you speak, I assume that, at least for the moment, he still lives.
Yes. He's in a state of semi-stasis. They're trying to unravel the information trapped within his mind, but it is proving difficult. And the mind can only take so much before it snaps, and we do not wish for that to happen.
He gives a nod.
Which is why I wish to impart that information to you, that you may inform your friend, in case she knows anything that we do not.
Of course. Upon my awakening, I will inform her of everything that we've discussed so that we can see about finding out other locations, find out other pieces of information that maybe you don't. Your students, they mentioned something about the squid faces.
Yes, the mind flayers. Creatures from beyond our realm. I believe some scripture claim they come from a place called the Void.
From what I've heard, yes. I've only fought them once. Terrible things. They tried to rip my face off, but thinking deeper, you came to me a while back mentioning that someone broke into the College of Iceforge, looking for, you said, information between the planes?
Yes, they stole ancient scrolls and texts dealing with the manipulation of the realms.
I've upped security since your warnings, but that right there might be why it happened.
We came to the same conclusion. We're still looking for those responsible for the theft. Speaking of your security, I want us both to be working on a level of trust, Denier, and I am ashamed, loath to admit, but my children will often act on their own, and they have planted what they believe to be a spy among your ranks.
He gives a bit of a nod. And I assume that this... Now, would you be willing to reveal the identity of this spy?
We call him Rakshasa, though he might be going under a different name.
Do I have a... Now, can I roll an intelligence check about the name Rakshasa?
Considering demons don't exist, probably, like, demons only now exist, probably not, but Ramses would gladly create an image in, like, kind of standing next to him of a tiger with two left hands.
That's my buddy, isn't he?
Yep, that is Professor Haslafar.
Ah, yes. I know this one. I've been keeping him close, but just close enough to keep an eye on him.
He's under no order to do any harm to you or your people. Simply delivering me, well, my children, information. But I don't want that to be a smudge on our relationship. Just like I won't mention anything about the spies that you have among the Dragon's camp.
above game, I'm trying to figure out that one out myself.
Wizen.
He tilts his... Now, did Asmo ever tell us about that?
I mean, you're part of a council. I have to imagine that... Asmo, would you have said anything about the source of your information in the Kuldara?
No, I don't think so.
Then you probably wouldn't know them by name, but you do know you have a source of information there.
To my knowledge, I believe like the source of that, it creates risk for who it is. That's the problem with anonymous sources. Like, it's really hard to gauge. Who
That's
they
fair.
are,
So you don't know that it's Wizen, but you do know that you do have a source of information in the Colossus Kuldara.
He gives a little bit of a smile. You are very well informed as usual.
I have ears everywhere. And these days it seems more necessary than usual.
I trust that the dragon hasn't been causing your people problems?
No, I don't believe he will.
Can I insight that?
Sure.
Nah, 13.
His face is relatively unreadable as he continues on.
As it stands, I just wish to learn more about the beast. There was a time long ago when that masked man seemed all too interested in the creature and the spirit that possesses him, of course.
I'm familiar with this entity.
Yes, the Jester of Bordeaux.
I can't help but notice that I haven't seen or heard from him in the last number of years.
Yes, and that is because up until the attack on me, he was safely secured in our crystal mausoleum. Unfortunately, after the attack, he's been in the wind.
That's troubling.
It is. And knowing that he's very concerned with that dragon is why I need to learn more about it as quickly as possible. You should probably also warn your friend, Lord Connolly. I know the Jester had ties to him as well.
From what I understand.
For our part, what forces I am able to spare are currently scouring the countryside for him.
For if I can be of help, by all means, please let me know to assist you with this entity. This thing is a threat to all of us.
There is a source of information that you have that I am unable to acquire. You have a prisoner there, if I'm correct. A dragonborn that had extensive knowledge on draconic lineage and biology.
I am aware of this man.
If you could glean any information from that man, it may help both of us to better understand what we are up against.
So you think that perhaps find what the Jester is obsessed with over the dragon, and then we can find out not only what he's after, but how to stop it.
That or find out what turned that dragonborn into a dragon and maybe find a way to reverse it. Subdue a threat.
He gives a nod. I will look into this, and I will make sure that Wolfgang knows all of this information, given that it is his prisoner after all.
I appreciate it, my friend. I do wish our discussions didn't have to be so serious these days, but we live in serious times.
Indeed, but at the very least, we do have opportunities where we can sit with each other and enjoy each other's company and have a little bit of tea now and again.
Very true. And as he smiles at you, you see the ever faintest flicker of what appears to be a red horn sticking out the front of his forehead.
I thought for just a moment I saw a bit of a horn from you.
He looks taken aback for a moment.
I'm not the same man I was, Denier, before the attack.
I confess that when you walked upon my doorstep, I could feel something different about your very being. I couldn't put my finger on it.
I just didn't want to change the nature of our conversation. If it's all right with you, I do not believe I'm ready to show myself just yet.
I can understand wanting to, given that everything that the Arcane Innate has been through for so many years, I can understand wanting the safety of keeping what you are hidden for at least a little bit longer.
I'm not afraid of threats at this point. I simply do not wish to change how you look at me.
And insight that as well, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Wow, that's a nat 1.
A nat 1?
That's a nat 1.
No.
There are a billion ways you can read into that, basically, is what you're getting. And you can't, and you're having a hard time picking just one.
But for now, I shall leave you to it and wish you once again a happy Reclamation Day. Oh, and if you wouldn't mind, would you deliver a message to Bordish for me?
Of course. What would that be?
I want the rest of her companions to head back north the way they came, but I wish her to head north by way of the wall. If Lord Connolly deems that she be accompanied by soldiers, they're more than welcome. I'd actually thank him for the effort. Extra security is always welcome on the roads.
Understood. I will pass the message along. Is there any kind of, say, code phrase or what have you to let them know that the message came directly from you?
No. They know that I trust you implicitly, and they ought to do the same.
Understood. He will stand up slowly. Even though you and I walk different paths, I'm still glad that we can call each other friend.
There seems to be kind of like a far-off look in his eye as he smiles.
I'm glad we're friends too, Denier.
And he will reach his hand out to Ramses.
Ramses will reach his hand back, and as he shakes your hand, for a moment, the world around you turns into that pit, that sloshing pit of blood as you shake his hand. And as you let go of his hand, you're standing back in your mansion.
Now, is there anything different about him when I touch him?
His eyes seem to glow a pinkish hue as you look into them.
Mm-hmm.
And his face kind of opaque with the shadow of the void that you sit in as your ankles. Like, the only luminescence you get during that moment is the glinting pinkness of his eyes. And as you let go of his hands, and he starts to make his way to the door, you notice that your ankles up to your shins are wet with the blood that you were just standing in. Until we meet again, my friend.
Until next time, Ramses.
And he steps out and the door closes behind him. And as he leaves, the air begins to feel equal parts cooler and calmer.
And as he leaves, that smile slowly fades from his face. And he takes a deep breath. Turns his attention back towards the nightmare ball. For at least now, knowing that he has a lot to think about.
And you dream through the night, pondering on it all. The morning greets all of you as the crowd slowly begins to gather towards town square.
Asmo did make it home last night and went to bed. Even if for just a brief period of time.
Yeah, you're awoken by the first crow of the morning rooster.
Oh, that's the bad first awake. Oh.
You know that? We only got 4 hours of sleep. You're like, mother, I need more.
Yep. Nara, as you awaken, Dedra has kind of curled her way into kind of like a fetal position in your lap, kind of like curled up there.
Looks at her and just kind of sits up and almost like a forklift puts her arms underneath her and just lifts her like that.
She wakes up as you do that. Denier seems to be meditating in his dream space, kind of restlessly.
Nara gets very quietly sneaks up to near his head and just listens.
Give me a perception check.
32 natural 20.
Yeah, holy shit. You can hear like the twitching of his eyes as like the gentle sloshing of his eyes as he's in his like dream in his dream REM, and you can hear the like tempo of his heartbeat, which is faster than average.
And Nara doesn't know how to do any dream magic stuff currently, correct?
Correct. It is not your domain.
I don't have anything that allows me to do that, right?
Unless it's in your character sheet somewhere.
Looking. I don't think I do. I kind of wish I did.
It's a very specific track of magic.
It is, I know. Okay. She's just gonna creepily sit over his face and watch him and try and if he's like muttering to himself or if it's all internal, she'll just be watching.
Denier, your eyes eventually like crack open when you realize it's time for you to get up, and Nara is staring at you, as is Dedra.
Can I make like a wisdom save to keep my composure?
Sure.
14?
I'll say
What'd
a
I
14
roll?
makes it.
Ah.
Or are you attempting to scare him?
It would be funny. So
Then
yeah.
go ahead and roll me an intimidate.
19.
Then yes, you
All right,
scare him.
All right.
Denier lets out a shout. What would he do if something was immediately in his face?
Disintegrate.
Oh my god.
Bye, Dedra. I mean, disintegrate's a straight line.
So, Nara, he opens his eyes, focuses on you, shouts, and then he vanishes.
Dedra's just looking around the room. Like, where'd the kitty go? Where'd
He
the nice
does
kitty
that.
man go?
When Dedra looks around, he's about 30 feet back at the door, and he is performing a hand sign, activating mage armor.
She points at him.
Good morning. Have a rough sleep?
You have no idea.
I have some idea. I was listening to your heart and your eyeballs slosh.
Wow. So, and his fur,
Nose sells it completely.
all of his fur is currently on end at the moment. He is even fluffier than normal. Ramses.
Nara's face kind of drops.
Oh?
Nod.
What does he want?
He has a message for you.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Does he have a message? I forget. So that it's not said out loud.
I do not. I have
Okay.
sending, which I have to say out loud.
So she will then use message.
So what is this?
He's alive. They're trying to get information from him. He's in a crystal prison right now. Ramses wants you to know.
Man.
Okay, she cut out, so just
Yeah. All I heard was,
That's all she said. So
oh, okay, good.
That's just
Man.
So I've learned a bunch of information. I've also figured out what's going on with points at Daedra.
Oh, what's that about?
She has a lot of things protecting her
Oh.
dreams. It's good, but it's not good.
Really selling that, huh?
I will walk over to her. I will put my back to Daedra so that Daedra can see, so that only Nara can see. And I will minor illusion the ball so that Nara can see it.
okay.
A swirling ball of pitch black snakes diving in and out of a curled mass of each other.
This is her dream. This is what is outside of her dream.
Huh. Okay.
I've spoken to them, and apparently they are numbing the pain. Which may be making everything numb.
Okay.
And while I was investigating this, Ramses showed up, and he has a number of messages. So I need to go find Wolfgang.
At that,
Oh boy.
you hear the sound of trumpeting fanfare towards the center of town. As Wolfgang, you're getting ready to you're already staying. We cut to Wolfgang, who's dressed in his finest, getting ready to deliver his speech. Asmo is baggy-eyed, sipping a skin of coffee, just looking around, keeping his eye on the crowd. Danir and Nara are nowhere to be seen right now, but your son is dressed in his best too, kind of standing in the front row of a crowd, just off to the side of the front row of the crowd with Jamat. And Timri is standing next to him as well. As the crowd is slowly kind of gathering. Danir and Nara, do you head towards town center?
I would say so. If this is happening, Danir's going for Wolfgang.
Yeah, Nara will go with.
Up near the front of the crowd, Wolfgang, as you're starting to walk up towards the monument, Harash and Bahum stand off to one side, very close to the front of the crowd, and the dignitaries of the Midnight Kingdom all kind of stand in a line, kind of in the opposite row of where the king is. King and Harash are. The crowd begins to quiet as you step up to the podium that was set before the monument, which is currently covered in a silken tarp behind you. The crowd begins to hush as you take center stage. Let me find... Is this the one? There we go. Everyone looks to you, Wolfgang.
He looks over this crowd of people that are looking to him expectantly, and he's just sort of thinking agitatedly to himself, fuck me, I never wanted to do this in my life, but here we go.
As you say that, a group of mages from off to the, the sides of this, off the sides of the monument start to cast, and a major image of you pops up above the monument. Another one starts casting a bit of thaumaturgy so that image will now boom the voice that you give out there. Luckily, they do this after you say, fuck this, I never wanted to do this.
Well, he says it in his mind.
Okay. But yes, there is now a large version of your head directly behind you. Just a large bust of you directly over the monument so that the people, this crowd that stretches back, must be... God... This town has a population of about 10 to 15,000 people, and maybe a tenth of that are currently lining the streets down towards the park to overlook, and even more are looking out of their windows out at this.
Wolfgang will sort of a bit for himself and a bit for the crowd. He just looks up at the big version of himself over his shoulder, and then he turns around and then he thumbs behind him. Look at
that. Give me a performance check.
He's trying to lighten the mood a little.
At least you didn't shoot the gun at it. Bang! Look at that guy.
Look at that freaking thing.
Ah! Bang, 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 bang!
Performance. Here we go. 8.
You get some polite laughter and a few coughs.
Right. Citizens of Silver Rock, I'd like to thank you all for attending this ceremony and indulging in this celebration of all that we've accomplished. First and foremost, many of you may be concerned about the incident that took place last night, but rest assured that we have dealt with the situation. It is well in hand, and you need not fear any longer.
You get polite applause.
In just a few short years, we've managed to come so far together. This land and the people within it have suffered much and more. Lands were taken or destroyed. Good people were lost due to ignorance, greed, or folly. But now is the time to put all of that in the past. Now, we look forward to a brighter future. One where we don't allow our differences to divide us. A future where everyone has a place. A purpose. No matter who or what they may be. This future is only possible because we chose prosperity and progress over stewing in hate. This momentous occasion is just as much your doing as it was mine. Despite everything, I am not a perfect leader, just as I am not a perfect man. I've disappointed and damaged the trust of people I've helped build my legacy with. And if, oh fuck, I even forgot his name. If Pogan is in the crowd, he'll try and lock eyes with him.
He's there. He's standing among many of the Kylum Diaboli. He gives, like, he just notices that you catch his eye. And he gives you kind of a stern, polite nod.
I've allowed atrocious crimes to slip beneath my notice, and the innocent have paid the price for my negligence. And he'll look over and excuse me. He'll scan the crowd to see if Nara and Nedra are there.
You kind of see, like, moving from the academy, kind of pushing their way through some of the crowd. Nara, would you be shy about, like, nudging your way through people?
I'm sorry, is that a real question?
No, not really, but I wanted to, like, I don't want to speak for you.
She will absolutely be making her way through and not being very shy about it.
Would you be holding Nedra by the hand or Dedra by the hand, or would she be kind of riding on your shoulders?
Probably riding on her shoulders, because Nara would probably get really fed up with how slow she walks because her legs are small.
They are tiny legs.
Yeah.
But yeah, there she is.
You mean Dedra?
Moving. Yeah, that's
You're
what
saying
I said.
Nedra.
I'm confusing.
I was wondering when that was gonna happen.
I'm mixing your. Taka, shut up. I'm mixing your names together.
Got it.
But yes, Dedra is currently riding on your shoulders, and you are like, you see Nara and Dedra, new group name Nedra, moving through the crowd.
I understand. Hardwired instincts. He looks at them as he says that people have paid the price for his negligence. He pauses for a moment, looks over the crowd. I've made dubious financial decisions. And he tries to find Flix.
From the crowd you hear.
Flix is sitting kind of in the second row with the rest of your council, and she just kind of like gives you like the twiddly finger wave. Her fingers, which are covered by many various expensive rings.
He'll like roll his eyes, not realizing that the giant him is also rolling his eyes as well.
Sounds like giant rocks moving.
No.
The sloshing of his giant eyes.
Then he'll close his eyes. He'll pause for a moment. Then he'll look back over the crowd in general. Worst of all, the friend who's guided me and mine through it all is not here beside us. He's in a place I couldn't hope to reach, even with all my power, with all my resources. The only thing I can do is hope he comes home swiftly and safely. And they'll sort of look to the sky. Thinking of Prime Denier. He's as much to thank for the peace we share as anyone in this crowd can claim to be, myself included. So let us give thanks to those who came before us. Let us pave the way for those who will walk after us. Let us light and keep this fire that all can warm themselves near. On this day, we reclaim our future!
The streets begin applauding and then turn into an uproarious applause as the people behind... do you give, like, the nod to the people to remove the tarp?
Yeah, he'll gesture behind him towards the statue.
The tarp flutters backwards, and there you see one hand cast in ebon marble, one hand cast in white marble, coming together surrounding an orb of a glass orb. On the inside of the glass orb, you see dancing kind of little sprites of spectral lights swirling and turning in various patterns, like a almost as if it's being carried by some sort of unseen current within the ball. The glittering substance seems to dance and move with the lights as the ball itself spins between the hands. The crowd continues to cheer and chant. Uproarious applause as we pan out. Fireworks fire off from behind the city of Silver Rock. And here is where we will end today's session.